views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Hey friends, this is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio as usual. 16 years worth of it. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. Thank you for tuning in today. Today's Bible study, school shootings, Satan's new elective class. Hey, will you call somebody and tell them Bible studies on? Brother Mike's back on the radio. I'll make some announcements when you make that call. Thank you for listening today. This is Brother Mike. I am the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We're in Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. Our website, HardcoreChristianity.com, has all of our ministry services. We do have 2 live services per week, Thursday night at 7 p.m., Friday night at 7 p.m. We have healing and teaching and deliverance and preaching at every service. Also on the website, you can hit the PayPal button and send us another donation. We do appreciate that. You could contact Sister Karen on the homepage on the website. She'll be happy to sell your house for you with honesty and integrity. You can join us on our Facebook and social media off the website and sign up for next month's free seminar. The end of May, in fact, this month. And we thank you for your prayers and thank you for your support. School shootings, Satan's new elective class. This thing's gotten so bad, it's literally incredible. It seems like there's a school shooting now, at least one a quarter, and sometimes it seems like there's one a month. I've done several radio programs on school shootings in the past, as you know. 100% of the school shootings involve spirituality. 100% of them involve spirits of murder. Almost all of them involve mental illness, and almost all of them involve spirits of childhood rejection. I've gone over this process several times on the radio, but believe it or not, an interesting article came out on the Christian Post that I thought I would share a little bit of it with you. A professor of early Judaism and Christian origins at Evangel University, now that's an Assembly of God university in Springfield, Missouri. His name is, believe it or not, Wave Nunley. Wave Nunley is his name. But anyway, he goes on to explain in this article some very interesting things which you don't typically hear in the media. He goes over some of these school shootings, and he happens to notice, for example, the Parkland shooting that happened just recently. The kid's name was Nicholas Cruz. Heard voices telling him to murder the victims. He heard voices telling him to kill the other students. In fact, in that shooting, that was one of the first things Cruz mentioned to the police officers, that he had heard voices. And of course, upon further investigation, they realized that he, obviously was mentally ill, probably had paranoid schizophrenia, and he had been previously on psychotropic drugs and had treatment for mental illness. Of course, it all added up after it was over. But what a lot of people don't know is that those voices that schizophrenics hear in their head, those are demons. They're demons. The voices that schizophrenics hear in their head, and I've treated many schizophrenics in the past, and I've actually had them completely and totally healed. Completely and totally healed. I've had people with schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder completely cured. The voices that they hear in their head are not theirs. All paranoid schizophrenics, all patients with schizophrenia, period, also have spirits of rejection from their childhood. They all had some kind of childhood trauma, and they all had these spirits of rejection enter their brain before the schizophrenia took manifested or took hold of the person's mind. Schizophrenia spirits don't normally enter the person until late teens or early 20s. But the other spirits, the principal ones being rejection, fear, and lust, those spirits get into the person's brain, usually in childhood and young adulthood, teenage years. And these spirits in Cruz were no different. He had these exact same spirits, and in the late teens and early 20s, the rejection spirit lets in the paranoid schizophrenia demon. It's the rejection demon that lets in the spirit of schizophrenia, and then the spirit of schizophrenia then takes over the person's mind and lets in other spirits. One spirit he lets in is the spirit of murder. And that spirit was talking to Cruz and some of the other ones who have performed these school shootings. These are very troubled children and troubled young adults who were hurt or wounded in some capacity as a child, and these spirits got into the person's brain. I wrote a study booklet called Planus Spirits, the Root Cause and Cure of Mental Illness, and I sent a copy of that to Professor Nunley, and when I get his response back, I'll share it with you on the radio, trying to explain to him exactly how this process works and how these spirits take over a person's mind and how they can be cured. By the way, if you know someone who is mentally ill and they need help, you can bring them into the Deliverance Center on a Thursday night or Friday night at 7 o'clock. And in the bookstore, you can purchase a copy of the study booklet, Planus Spirits. And in that study booklet, I go through in detail each case of mental illness in the Bible, how it worked, how the process works, and I go through the process for complete healing. If you know somebody who has schizophrenia or severe bipolar or some other mental illness, they can be completely cured, and the spirits causing these illnesses can be completely removed. When I was a secular counselor for 25 years, I was taught that there was no spirit world, demons were not real, spirits did not exist, and that mental illness was caused by things like improper genetics, chemical imbalances, tricks of the mind, unexplained capacities of the mind. And there was always a mystery to it when I was in the secular field as a professional counselor. But God revealed to me later there's no mystery to it. There's a process of how it works, and there is a root cause of it, which goes back to childhood wounds, physical or psychological trauma, and spirits that enter the person's brain and start talking to the person. Quick example, decades ago, the legendary Son of Sam terrorized New York like nothing anybody had ever seen. And he went around shooting people in cars, usually lovers parked in a park or in a side street. He'd walk up behind the vehicles and just murder them in cold blood. Well, later on, we realized that his dog was talking to him at home. Sam was the dog. And Son of Sam had some form of schizophrenia. Which one he had, I do not know. I don't have his case file, obviously. But he heard voices telling him to go murder people. He had a spirit of murder. And that's why he went around killing people. And this Cruz kid and 2 or 3 of the other school shooters within the last year and a half or two have also heard voices telling them to go murder other people. For example, the Colorado movie theater mass murderer who took, I think it was an Uzi, into the or some other automatic weapon. He walked into a movie theater and he was shooting everybody he could possibly kill. He also had paranoid schizophrenia, and he also had these demonic voices in his brain, speaking to him, just like Son of Sam. His name was David Berkowitz, had the same voices. In addition, the monstrous serial killer Ted Bundy also described this exact same phenomena. He had voices in his head, and he was also had spirits of rejection from child abuse, and he had powerful lust spirits that he had picked up through chronic pornography use. And again, the childhood rejection demon always lets in the other demons, and they are principally lust and fear, and later on, the powerful spirit of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia demons are extremely intelligent, and they're spreading in our society extremely fast. They're extremely dangerous, extremely smart, and they are cold-blooded killers. And they will not stop until they have completely taken over the person's mind. And the churches, because they are spiritually ignorant, particularly in the mega churches, and do not understand the spirit world, can't help these people. So at the Arizona Deliverance Center, we get people from churches literally all over the valley, and literally every mega church in the valley. People who attend these churches come to us for help because their churches don't understand the spirit world. They don't understand how spirits work, and they cannot treat the mentally ill. And they can offer no hope for them other than basics such as possibly some food or shelter or clothing or that kind of thing. The churches in America today have lost the power of the Holy Ghost and lost the understanding that mentally ill people can be cured, they can be helped, if you get them to someone who understands deliverance and understands the power of how spirits get into people's minds and how they control them using thoughts. And in cases of schizophrenia, they actually use voices. Different personalities get into the person's brain. And these same spirits also cause dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder, any form of mental illness where the person is actually hearing other voices and other personalities talking either to them or to each other in the person's brain. That is caused by spirits that are hiding in the brain, attacking the emotions in the soul and the thoughts in the mind. But there is a cure.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.